driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Jimmie, one win this season, second in points coming into Dover. Just talk a little bit about your strategy coming into this weekend.
Yeah, our win at Talladega was great for the team, and I look at a couple other races where we were in contention, had some things kind of bite us at the end. So I feel like we've been knocking on the door, and coming to this track, it's one of our best tracks and my favorite track to compete at. So I'm excited. I know that Kyle's going to be awfully tough. This is a great track for him. I think the 31, even the 43 and the speed those guys have had, that we'll certainly have our hands full throughout the weekend. But nothing like coming to one of your favorite tracks and the excitement that leads into a race weekend. So we'll just see how it goes. And with the weather potentially coming in, it really challenges us on what our decisions are for today's practice. And if we go out and work on race trim, you kind of need to do both, because you need to post a fast lap, and then at the same time you need to work on race trim, because the race is so important, and this is our only practice session, and it takes a lot of time to switch over from qualifying trim to race trim. And we'll see some people maybe go back and forth 2 to 3 times, just trying to maximize the amount of tires that we're given. So today is a challenging day, and this new schedule is still being kind of understood by everyone. What's the best strategy? And then when you have rain coming, that for tomorrow, it puts another wrinkle in things.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions in the media center. We'll start with Tom Jensen, come back up here to Scott, then Woody, and then Lee Spencer.
Hi, Jimmie. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. The 18 and the 29 are two guys you're likely going to have to contend for the championship with this year. When you see them involved in what's going on, the fighting back and forth and the war of words, I know you're a gentleman, but do you sort of smile seeing the distraction that causes maybe some other teams?
At times, yes. I remember being here in the chase and watching the 11 and the 29 go at it. At that point in time, yes. Now the championship implications haven't crossed my mind. It's so far from now that things seem to get rectified after 2 to 3 weeks. So I haven't thought of it in that perspective. It was exciting, seeing the discussions about it, in major papers, to the social media world. I mean, it's been everywhere. So you'd hate to see somebody potentially injured, and I know the stuff on pit road is really the sore spot of all of it. But it was exciting. Gave us all a lot, to talk about. And if something like that happens in the chase, it certainly will affect those two drivers and do something there. But we're too far away from it now.
Scott.
Scott Abraham, WBOC TV here in Dover. Jimmie, you said this is one of your favorite tracks to compete at. What is it about this track that you love, and I guess it really fits your style in a way?
Yeah, the concrete adds a dimension that we don't typically see. The high banked corners, the transition from the straightaway into the corners. Going in, you come down a hill, you go through the turn, and you kind of climb back up a hill. It just maybe reminds me a little bit of my off-road days, and controlling the vehicle through a vertical motion, kind of coming into the corner, up over the hill and trying to land, and also control the lateral forces that we see in the cars. So that dynamic I enjoy, and I really like this track, and our race wins and finishes kind of back that up. So looking forward to another great weekend, and would love to and hopefully get a win, get some more points. Love to be leading the points right now. I mean, we've been in second here for a few weeks. The 99 pulled out a little bit on us last weekend. Love to close that up and fight for that top spot.
Okay, we'll take a question from Woody, then Lee Spencer, then David Newton.
Woody Kane with MRN. Jimmie, can you move ahead a week and talk a little bit about Charlotte coming up? That's for a long time seemed like your playground, and then the last couple of times I've asked you about it, you've said you've not had that same feel there. How do you feel now going back there to that track?
Yeah, when they put that new surface down, we lost the advantage we had. We still seem to run well there. We've been in contention and been in the top 5 and been running well. I think we had a great shot to win last year's All-Star race, and led late, and I think we had a problem on pit road and came out in third, and restarted inside of the 11 and spun out trying with, I think, just a lap or 2 to go. Kind of one of those make it or break it moves. If I needed to get by him if I was going to have a shot at the 2, and it just didn't have that opportunity. So I spun out, went through the grass off of turn 4 down the front stretch. So we're there. I enjoy that track. the old track and how rough it was and abrasive it was really fit my style. We had a great setup for it. I knew how to drive the track. The rougher the track, the better, in my opinion. I seem to do better at those tracks. So in time, the track will get there, and it changes a little bit each year, and we'll see where it is now. But looking forward to it. Nothing like being home. You know, our All-Star race is a true All-Star event. Very proud of our sport and Sprint and what they've done with that event. Everybody's charged up for it, and then we roll out of that into one of the biggest weekends in motorsports, period. So a good couple weeks coming up for us.
Lee Spencer?
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. We talked to Rick Hendrick, I guess it was Wednesday, and he basically said he was kind of thrilled that he doesn't have the problem with you guys having to go to the trailer. Have you been there before, and do you understand all the ramifications of probation?
I think I understand the probation. I think I was under it once, maybe. Can't really recall it. I've only been called there a couple times, once with Kevin and once with Tony, if my memory serves me right. And I think in one of the circumstances I was possibly put under probation. But, you know, I think we're all understanding where those limits are. And, you know, Rick has a good group of drivers that understand the business side as well. So I think it's kind of outside of the box for us to Rick's mind to get into trouble and do the wrong things on track, although we're all capable of it if you're mad enough. But you know, Rick loves that passion in his drivers, and we find ways to rectify our problems in situations. And I know we have his support, you know, whatever it takes to do our jobs.
Okay, we'll take one from David Newton and come back up front, and then Steve Post.
Yeah, Jimmy, David Newton, ESPN.com. Tony Stewart said early in the week, Kevin said it here earlier today, that he thinks NASCAR needs to be more clear in what the rules are. If you hook somebody, you know, penalty, punch somebody, you know, ejection or whatever. I mean, do you feel like there needs to be more clarity there, or are you clear on what the rules are?
I think we're all in a gray area where we know that in the past that things that have been done would equal penalties, would equal suspension potentially, and probation for sure. And now we're in this gray area, and I think that NASCAR is still trying to fill it out. I mean, there's a point there where it's have at it, boys, and then there's crossing that line. And I know exactly what Tony's speaking about, and he's right where he would like some clarity. But I think as a group, we're trying to understand what that really is. And we don't want the on-track stuff to be a wreck fest and to take the competitive spirit out of it. At the same time, you can't have people in harm's way on pit road. So I think our clarity is developing as these incidents come along. As a competitor, you want to know where that line is and what's allowed and what's not. So I definitely understand where Tony's coming from, but I think it's kind of progress in motion right now.
Ted Schreiber, CBS News. Sunday is Jimmie Johnson Day. Most people, when they get a day, they go out to dinner or something. You got to work. Can you tell us about it?
I hope to reward myself with a win on Jimmie Johnson Day. That'd be pretty awesome. Definitely honored to have that bestowed upon myself and have it be Jimmie Johnson Day, and I better make the most of it.
Well, you've won Athlete of the Year. Is this kind of the kind of honors that are coming down the line now, the last few years with the championships, things that you maybe never thought you'd get?
Yeah, especially in the state. You know, in California, I would think something like that would happen. But a big honor for sure. And the AP Athlete of the Year award meant a ton for myself and our sport. And then the latest award we received through Forbes magazine, being the most influential athlete, that's another huge feather in my cap and our sports cap. And when you look at 3 of the top 10 were NASCAR drivers, and then at Hendrick Motorsports for that matter, it says a lot about our sport. We're on the map, and our sport's continuing to grow, and we're in the forefront of sports fans' minds.
Thank you, Jimmie.
Hey, Steve Post.
Jimmy, Steve Post, MRN Radio. 2 weeks is the Coca-Cola 600. Can you talk about the length of that race, going from afternoon till late night? How many changes you have to make on the race car, be ready to make? Can you just discuss the overall length of that race and the challenge that brings for you and your team?
Yeah, regardless of surface, that track is still challenging. Kind of shows up in different ways, but the track, the temperature of the track, the rubber going down, it changes so much from the start to the finish, and really from when we make decisions based on our setups and happy hour. That track goes through a bunch of changes because you have a nationwide race and then all of our stuff day to night. So it is a handful, and you find that the winning car is usually undrivable at the start of the race, and you just have to nurse it along and not make mistakes. And I've made a few mistakes here of late. I've spun out a lot off of turn 2, and I really hope to not do that again. But it's a challenging track and a challenging event when you have such a fickle surface to race on. I mean, it really is.
Okay, Reed Spencer. Then one from Mike Mulhern will wrap up Jimmie's availability.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Jimmie, you talked about the gray area, and when Kevin was in here, he was saying that he doesn't want to be the next guy. So do you think that at this point, with sort of the boys have at it era last year having been pretty much no holes barred, that the pendulum is starting to swing back the other way?
To be honest, I don't think much about it. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time in that space mentally. Wondering if I really act like an idiot right now, am I going to get in trouble? And my mindset is, how do I win this race? Not saying that if someone really pisses me off that I won't make a bad decision and then have to deal with it, but at that point, you've exploded and you're going to deal with the consequences, whatever they may be. So for me, what it is what it is. Mike has an obligation to run the sport and to keep it safe and to make sure that it's a competitive sport and we're not some crazy sport where it's just a destruction derby. So I put my trust in NASCAR and Mike Helton to make the right decisions and to officiate our sport as need be. So I saw somewhere where Kyle mentioned I just need to worry about winning races and the rest of it will go away. And the truth lies within that. If you're doing what you need to do to win races, the other stuff doesn't happen. Final question for Jimmie, Mike.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. Boys have at it. Are we getting too complacent about this? I saw Jeff Gordon hit at Richmond. We've had a lot of guys go on the wall nose first.
I'm not laughing at you.
I'm thinking that we're getting a little complacent about this thing. I mean, I know the cars are safe. I know we got soft walls. You guys aren't bulletproof. You might get injured in some of these things. Do you think somebody needs to tone it down?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I mean, we're all around the sport enough to know that in your position, covering the sport, it's really easy one weekend to say, oh, well, just it's too vanilla out there, it's too boring, these guys don't rough each other up, back in the day this would happen, and then damn if we don't go to the next race, and all that happens, and now you got to write the opposite of that. So I think we're all confused. I mean, what do we really want? Does anybody know? I mean, it changes every week, and if you read the articles and follow the path, I mean, we're all confused, in my opinion. At the end of the day, our sport is stronger than it's ever been. We have more lead changes, more race winners, and I guess any press is good press.
Jimmie, thank you very much for your time. Good luck this weekend.
You got it.